Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie Jessica.
So today we are doing our Convincing My Bestie series. This is where we convince each other to read a book within a certain trope. Today it's my turn to give Mandy some suggestions and see what she chooses. And she's so excited because today we're doing OmegaVerse.
No.
Okay, but before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway. Our next level is 750. When we have 750 subscribers, we'll be doing that drawing. And Mandy, what are they getting?
9 Minutes by Beth Flynn. We talk about this book all the time, how much we absolutely loved it. It is a signed copy. So thank you so much to Beth for sending this to us for our giveaway. You can also get an extra entry by following us on Instagram. And we have a few other little book swaggy things that we'll send with that.
Yay! Okay, so let's get started with this. Oh yeah, by the way, everything's linked below. Our Instagram and all that good stuff. So it's down there. So, okay. Let's get started with OmegaVerse. So if you guys don't know what OmegaVerse is, it is basically humans are this, we're still human. Typically it's like in the future or it's in an alternate universe kind of thing. We're still human, except there's 3 categories. You have your alphas, your betas, and your omegas. Omegas are typically the people who reproduce. They're smaller than the alphas and the betas. Betas are just average, everyday, normal people like we are right now. And then omegas, or no, not omegas. Alphas are typically big, burly. They're very dominant. They're very, caveman. That's mine. I'm going to beat her over the head and take her. And alphas and omegas are attracted to each other because they're dominant and they want the little things that produce more alphas, apparently. Anyhow, there's other things, but you can look it up. I'm doing a horrible job explaining it. So Mandy has only read one book, and it was because in this universe, and that's because it was the last one where we did aliens, and it just happened to be OmegaVerse. So I love this trope. If it's done right, it is hard to find good ones. So I have 6. So let's do it. The other thing too is a lot of them are reverse harem, because that's just the way it is. They look for a pack. They live in a pack. But I have a couple that aren't, but the majority of them are. So, Yay, Mandy, you're getting that double whammy yet again. Aren't you excited? Okay. So let's get started.
Beyond words.
I know, I can see it. Okay. So the first one that I have is The Alpha Awakens by Anna Fury. So this takes place in New York, takes place a little bit in the future. There has been an illness that has been that broke out all over the nation, and it changed men. It seems to only be affecting men, and when they get sick, they start bleeding, and then all of a sudden they grow and become really aggressive, and they're basically becoming alphas at this point when that happens. Now the government is really quick to grab them, shut things down, take them away to God knows where, and do whatever to them. But there have been some that have gotten away. And so because of this, the world's kind of in turmoil, because, you have all the men getting this weird sickness and then people hiding and whatever. It feels very shut downy COVID-ish in a way. But this is not a reverse harem. This is one that is not for you. So this is about Orion and Mallory. So Mallory is living in New York, and she is a reporter. And one day she goes to the grocery store with her friend, and when she's walking home alone, she can tell that she's getting stalked by somebody, and it's one of these alphas. And he corners her at her house, and she's trying to get into her apartment complex when she's trying to get in, and she's freaking out. Well, then another alpha shows up and runs him off, and that is Orion, and he has this attraction to her, and he finds out she's a reporter, and he is living with a pack up north in New York, in their own little compound kind of a thing, and they have this hierarchy going on, but they have all these alphas there, and they're making a life for themselves there. And so he finds out she's a reporter, or a struggling reporter, and he goes to her and says, "Hey, I've got the story of a lifetime for you. Come stay with us for a week and see what it's like for us now that we've changed." Because she has a brother who's gone missing because this happened to him and everything else. So she agrees to go stay with them for a week to report on what's going on up there. And so this is what happens with all of that. This is a series. There is a lot of things that happen, but it's a different couple in each book. So it's got a continuation of the story, but this is really good. So there's your first option.
Okay.
Okay. So your next book, turn the page here, is called Safe Haven, and it's by Jerica James. So this one is about our Omega. Her name is Briar, and it's been a little hot minute since I read this, so I'm trying to remember. She was at work, and she was attacked by a coworker or a boss. I can't remember, but somebody attacked her at work. She's an Omega. She's unclaimed. She does not have a pack, but she ends up getting pregnant.
Do all these people know that they're like Omegas and?
Depends on the book. So
Okay.
in the Alpha Awakens, she doesn't know that she's Omega until later. This one, this girl knows that she's Omega. So it just kind of depends on the story. So Briar, she's attacked, and then she obviously is assaulted, and she ends up getting pregnant. She's still working here. She still has to work with that person, but she's trying to keep it under wraps. When she is found out at work, she not only loses her job, I mean, she's watched this a-hole like parade himself around and get everything he wants, while he's the one that's like pulled the wool over everybody's eyes, and he's attacked her, and she's now pregnant, and she loses her job. And because she doesn't have a pack, like everybody ostracizes her. Like her family is like, nope, this ain't working. It's a horrible situation. Her only person that stands up for her is her brother, and he knows that she needs help and she needs protection. And so he calls on one of his best friends who has a pack and says, can you help my sister? So they come and they bundle her up and they rush her away. She asks to go to a shelter. She's just trying to figure out what, like an Omega shelter, to get out. And they decide, no, you're going to stay with us in our pack, because they do not have an Omega in their pack, but you're going to stay here until you decide what to do. And as she stays with them and progresses in her pregnancy, this group of alphas become attached to her. And then there's other things that happen. There's more to the story than just that, but that's kind of how it starts out. I really loved this one. I love the fact that these guys come in after she's already been pregnant and in a situation that's not really good, that's not ideal, obviously, but they end up loving her and the baby. And it's perfect. I just love that story. So, and I think there's only 3 guys in that book. Maybe there's 6. I don't remember. I don't know. I can't remember. I just know that I loved it. It was very sweet. It was very good. And then we have Not Many Options by Jillian West. So this can be read as a standalone. I read it as a standalone. I have not gone back and read her other books, but there is her Ruins Record duet that actually ties in with this one. So you can read that one first, or not, just in general for everybody else out there. Mandy needs to read this one if she chooses it. But this one I loved, because you know me, I love kids in romance if they're done right. So this is about Riley. She is an unmated Omega, but she is a mom of 2 little girls under the age of 4. And she lives on this island, or she's on this island. It's to me, I think it's like off the coast of the East Coast. There's just like, you know how they have little, like Coney Island, or I don't even know if that's an actual island. Forgive me, people, I've got no clue. Anyhow, my husband doesn't want to go back to New York. It's where I grew up. Anyhow, so she lives on this little island. There's a blizzard coming in, and she is, for whatever reason, she doesn't have a place to stay. There's things that happen, and she's, just got her 2 littles in the car, and she ends up running into an alpha who lives there, and he finds out what's happening. There's circumstances that bring them together. And she says, he says, why don't you come and wait out the storm with us? And so he takes her home with the 2 other alphas that are there. And she ends up getting shut in with these guys. It sounds like it's just this giant smut fest is what it sounds like it's going to be. But there was actual plot, and good in-depth plot is actually more of a slow burn than anything. And this one was, I really like this one. The kids were adorable. And they were like, they made the book. So also, when you look up my reviews on these, don't pay them any attention. I was a little embarrassed about how much I really loved OmegaVerse when I first rated these books. So I probably gave them less than what I should have. Now I'm over that. I'm over that. I love this stuff. Okay. Then we have, for your next one, I think not. And not is with Knot. I think not. And that is by...
Not the nodding again.
Yes, they all have nodding. They should. That's like
really?
the best part. Yes.
Okay.
Duh. That's the best part of OmegaVerse, guys. Seriously.
Is the nodding? Okay.
Yes. Okay. So this is by Sinclair Kelly. So this is about Bexley. Bexley is an Omega, and she does not want anything to do with a pack or an alpha, or like, she wants to be independent. She doesn't want to have to depend on these alphas, and she doesn't want to have, like, she's like, there's got to be more to life. So she has made a name for herself as an influencer on this pack chat app. Where she puts out videos about being an independent Omega, and has really grown quite the following. On that app is a group of guys. They're a pack. They're a pack of alphas, and they are called, their name for their group is called Ride and Alpha. That is their name. That is their username, Ride and Alpha.
That's why you like this so much.
Why not? And they harass her. Like, they make, they make the thirst traps, and they make, videos where they're making fun of her, or they call her out specifically on certain things. And so she finds out that they're going to be at this major influencer conference, and it's right around her birthday. Her best friend convinces her to go and confront these guys once and for all. So she actually ends up confronting them. I remember in the book, they're like, what I do remember is they're sitting on a stage, and she's surrounded by these guys, and she's like, oh, I'm in trouble. Like, I'm in trouble, because the minute she sees them, she starts to feel her body changing and going into heat. So yeah, I know it's sad. It's crazy what they call it, but seriously, just stop laughing. It happens. It's OmegaVerse. Just quiet. Okay. So then, I know. All right. So then the next book that I have, this should be number 5.
Yes.
It's called One Pucked Up by Pack by Sarah Blue. I just read this a few weeks ago. This is Hockey, OmegaVerse. So you have Charlie, who is our Omega, and she is living in this little tiny town. I think it's in like Vermont, wherever it is. It gets cold.
Question.
What?
Are these like alien too, or everybody's just normal, but it's
normal. Like, in most of these, it's just that's what our universe is now. That's what it is. There's some where things have happened, like with the Alpha Awakens, where we know that there was like an illness, like a widespread thing. But these ones, it's just this world. So it's just the way we're built, I guess. So alternate universe type of situation. No, none of these are alien. Okay. So Charlie is a college student. She's on winter break. She goes home to see her mom in Vermont. Her mom is a lot older than her. Her parents had her really late in life, but she is hanging out with her mom, and she decides to go ice skating because their town is like a touristy town, and they live near a lake that has all these big houses, but she doesn't live in one of those. But she takes her big old dog. She decides to go ice skating on the frozen over lake by her house. When she gets there, there's a group of guys playing hockey off in the corner, or off in the side, just over there. Doesn't pay them any attention until when she's skating, all of a sudden she gets hit in the tit with a hockey puck. And then she falls and hits her head and gets knocked out. So the guys playing hockey, the ones who hit the puck, it was a kid that they were playing with, but these 3 guys are all at the point where they play hockey, and they are just getting ready to go into where they get signed to go to the NHL, like the draft for the NHL. And when she meets them, she realizes that all 3 are her scent match, which means they're like her fated mates. Like, they're perfect for her kind of situation. But they're all about to get drafted. So they're all going to be sent to different corners of the US and Canada. And so this is their story about how they make that work. There's some things that happen that drive, wedges in, and it's hockey and OmegaVerse. It was great. Just combine both. Hockey and OmegaVerse. I liked it a lot. Okay. And then I saved my favorite for last.
Oh, this must be Grace McGinty.
This is Grace, yes. So Grace has, I can't even pick up the book. So this is Trist in the Dark. And I know you heard me talk about this not too long ago because I just did a reread of it not too long ago. So this is about Trist, and she is our Omega. So in this world, it is set in the future. So it is still our world, but it's set in the future. We've had like another war, and we fought it with nukes, and it changed some of our DNA. And so the betas in this world, the beta women are not able to have babies anymore. And if they are having babies, they are not having female babies. They're having all males at this point. And so,
well, that's a problem.
I know, because then where do you get women, right? The only ones who are having both sexes are Omegas. And so you have where once you present as an Omega in your teens, the government will come in and be like, oh, look at you. You're so lucky you get to come and live in this compound and go to these schools and do exactly what we tell you to do, because now you kind of belong to us, because we have to make sure that we can repopulate. And then when you're 21, we're going to hold what we call the allotment, but it's basically a lottery. And we're going to choose your pack for you. So every week they draw a number, and it's based on your social security number. And these men who are not married and not in committed relationships are all in here, whether they like it or not. They're in it. And it doesn't matter whether they're alpha or beta. They're in it. And so you have to do it as long, like, you don't know how big your pack's going to be, because the government chooses, and they keep doing this every week until they feel like you have enough. Now, Trist here, she kind of bucks the system, and she doesn't play by their games, and she wants to have a life outside of this. She doesn't want to just be, barefoot and pregnant. She wants to go to school, and she wants to do these things. And so the people who are in charge of her in this little government organization, they don't like her very much. So they keep doing drawings, and they even do things like draw two at one time and things like that. Because what happens is within 24 hours of meeting the new packmate that's been drawn for her, they have to consummate their relationship to create the bond. Like bodily fluids have to be passed to make this bond.
Gosh, Jessica.
I know, it's so awesome. So anyway, but here's the other thing too, because these guys are just being drawn, they don't all want to be there. Like, they're being forced to be there as much as she is. So how do you make that work? So this one, I love this one. This is one of my favorites. You guys all know that I love Grace. Like, Grace is amazing, but this is like one of my favorite Omega verses because of the way it's friggin' awesome. So there's that one. So I know I gave you like amazing choices, and you're so excited to read them. But like I said, the majority of them all have packs. I think the only one that doesn't is the alpha one. The Alpha Awakens is the only male-female one. Yep, sorry, they all have packs.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
I'm trying to look at my notes. Usually when we do this, one or two will like stand out, but these are all like so far out of my realm of reading.
Yep.
That I'm not sure where to go.
Just so you know, there is audio for one Pucked Up pack. There's audio for the Alpha Awakens. I think there's audio for I Think Not, and possibly audio for Not Many Options, but I could be wrong. There wasn't when I read it, but there might be now.
Okay.
Okay.
Dramatic pause. Well, I guess I should just go for the full-on experience of OmegaVerse.
Uh-huh.
So I'm trying to decide. Trist in the Dark sounds good, but I've read Grace McGinty before when you made me.
Yeah.
I have not many options with the kids and stuff. You said that was really good.
That was good.
I think though I might take I think not. I like the idea of like the videos and like them like kind of going
Correct.
after her a little bit.
Yeah, I remember thinking that was
Sounds like it might have some good banter in it.
it does. And
Okay.
it's just got some good teasing moments. There's some funny moments and things that I think we can relate to a little bit.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
try I think not. And then
Okay.
maybe OmegaVerse will become my thing and I'll have this list of 6 books to read.
Sure, well. It's one of those things when you first start reading it, you're like, what the hell is this? And do I like it? Do I like this? And then you get to be like me where I'm like, yep, I like it. I'm all for it. But it's hard to find good, not corny, cheesy, just straight up smut ones. Like I need to know what's going. Like I need the plot. So
yeah. Okay.
All right, we'll come back and see how you like that one.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right, Mandy. I'm ready for this. Okay. What did you think?
WTF. Okay, first off, I feel like I needed you know when you watch like a murder show or something and they go in the person's room and they have this like bulletin board with like all these pictures and like red yarn.
Everybody straight? Yes.
I felt like I needed one of those boards.
See, that's the thing that I have when I do reverse harems. There's times that I need that, and that's when I know that this one isn't working for me. Like there's certain authors that do it. Like Grace does it for me. I can keep her guys straight as to who's who. But in certain reverse harems, I can't keep people straight. And that's when I'm like, yeah, this isn't working for me. So I understand what you're saying.
I just had to double check my notes because I'm like, I'm pretty sure there was 5 guys. Yes, there are 5 guys.
I'm normally when you get 4 or more, I'm like, I don't know.
So that got a little confusing trying to keep everybody straight. And I felt like by the time I had a firm handle on who was who, we were at the end of the book. And then
okay, but like, before we move on from that point, when you were reading the T.S. Kenley book, the Neverland book, did you feel the same way that you couldn't keep everybody straight?
No.
See, that's a writing thing.
I mean, it was a little overwhelming. Like,
but you couldn't keep the people straight. They all
now
had
she's going here. But in that book, it was more like she starts with him, then she goes to him, then she goes to him.
Everybody's introduced.
Sort of happens, but these 5 guys all have like quite their own relationship together. So then there's like side things about like who's who in this 5 dynamic, and then you're trying to figure out who she's going to, and then there's times where she's like, claim me alpha, and then I'm like, oh, so like what's everybody else doing when this is happening? Like, and so I don't know, it was a little overwhelming in that respect. I did enjoy like how each chapter starts with like the Omega's guide to rule number, you know, and like write an alpha, like that stuff was fun. So it was definitely fun, but it was, I mean, I almost think it was like a little more porny almost at times than like the frat boy.
Really?
Sloan. I felt like that. Well, in that, like, I mean, it's all about porn because they're making porn, but you always like there was, I don't know how to explain it. It just, I don't know. This was like. So that being said, like it's kind of like a crazy read when there's so many people, and I'm like, wow, that's really type A personality of me feeling like I need to start taking notes during my book. I did enjoy it. I'm gonna rate it a 4.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. I do have to say I have taken notes during a reverse harem before. Just to get that out of the way.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it was a little, I did not realize, okay, I'll just confess that I was assuming that this was more like the OmegaVerse thing was more like a little reverse harem-y, where it's like, here's these guys and they all want this one girl and they share her, but they may know each other, but they're not involved. But in this, there were some of the guys who were involved with each other in quite like a almost exclusive way in the pack. And then I still am a little confused about like the beta's role in the pack.
It depends on the book.
Okay.
In each book, it's in each person, like each author's universe, it's written differently. They're more of a supportive role. So,
okay.
You know.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know that I would necessarily be like, oh, I'm going to start seeking out OmegaVerse. I really I'm not a reverse harem fan. So that's kind of part of it. But I wouldn't necessarily like, if you're like, we're going to do OmegaVerse again, I wouldn't like put my foot down and be like, absolutely not.
Okay, good.
I would read another one, but it might not. Like, I think I'd have to really be in the mood. Right now, I have a whole bunch of books I really want to read.
There are some just straight up male, female OmegaVerses. These ones were just the ones that I liked that were better. I think I gave you one option that was male, female, but it's hard to find because typically
the alien book you had me read was OmegaVerse, where it was just the two of them. And the knot thing is still kind of weird.
Love it.
Especially when it's like the two guys with the knotting. I just can't.
I think my
mental pictures are not working.
Wait until you get to like if you were to read like Mannix, they have impreg where the guy gets pregnant. Now that is a whole different thing. I mean, there's a trick in that. I mean, I need some V with my P, but there's still the guy gets pregnant. Like, part of me is like, yeah, finally. But the guy's got like a washboard abs, and then after he delivers the babies, he's got washboard abs again. Now, how unfair is that?
No kidding.
Yeah. So, anyway. Okay.
So I did like it. 4 stars. I don't think you have to be too worried about your next turn.
Thank you.
I'm not feeling extra spicy about it or anything, but I was like a few times I'm like, whoa, what am I reading? I actually went back and forth between reading and listening to it, and I liked both ways, so I wouldn't necessarily say I had a preference.
Right.
I was really impressed with I can't remember who narrated it, but there was only one male narrator, but he changed his voice enough that you could tell the difference. Like, you could feel like you were listening to somebody else. But also when she would be talking to them, it was actually the female narrator's voice, which I really liked that. It made it flow so much better. Because most of the time the male narrator like tries to do the feminine voice and the female narrator does the male voice.
That's the duet narration is what I like with that. Yeah.
But I really like this where it was like kind of back and forth. That helped keep it straight. I think if the male narrator, who's already trying to do 5 voices, was trying to also do their voices or her voice too with that, it would have been too messy. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Good.
Okay.
All right. So that's what we have for you guys for OmegaVerse.
Make sure to leave a comment and tell us, is OmegaVerse for you? Have you read any OmegaVerse? Did Jessica convince you to read some OmegaVerse? Let us know.
Yeah. And what then your favorite what your favorite OmegaVerse is, if I didn't pull it out, because I need to know that.
Yes, if you read OmegaVerse, let us know, because Jessica's apparently hungry for more.
Always.
And then also make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.